Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Mr. Farney Earth Science video. In the last video about moons, we kind of set up and gave a little bit about the basic background structure information of the moon, and then gotten a little bit about the different possible hypotheses on how the moon formed. In this video, we're going to be talking about lunar phases and the different phases of the moon, something that I'm sure we've covered a little bit before in like the middle school years, but we're just going to come back, reinforce some of those concepts, and maybe introduce one or two more points. Firstly, we have to recognize, number one, that the moon itself, it does not rotate on its axis as it revolves or, around the Earth itself. As the moon revolves around the Earth, it goes through kind of these 8 different positions. We can see that as it rotates around, it's still getting an equal amount of sunlight from the sun, but based upon the positioning of the moon in relationship to the moon, the Earth, and the sun, different parts of the moon are going to become illuminated as it moves around the Earth, hitting one of each of these different 8 positions. So the moon's always half illuminated by the sun. One half is hit by the sun, one half isn't. Again, it doesn't rotate on its axis. So one half is always illuminated by the sun. As the moon orbits around the Earth, we see either more or less of that illuminated light. And these phases are, related to relative positions of where the sun is and where the moon is in our sky. There are 8 recognizable stages. You've all probably learned before. We have new moon, where it's completely dark, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, and then full moon. So the word waxing means it's growing in luminosity. It's getting larger. After full moon is when it starts shrinking, or they use the word waning. I like to think about it like the moon's getting tired, the light's going away, it's getting ready to go to sleep. So it's waning after the full moon. Waning gibbous, last quarter, sometimes they'll be referred to as a third quarter moon, and then waning crescent. So we have crescent, gibbous are kind of the 2 descriptor words for how much it's illuminated there. And then waxing is growing, waning is shrinking. So those are 8 recognized stages of the moon. We have the different shapes. Like I said, we have crescents. Gibbous is a word that means swollen. So again, we covered this on the last slide. Waxing, these are the stages leading up to the full moon. And then waning are the stages leading down to a new moon. So crescent shapes, and then gibbous is our swollen shapes. Here is a time-lapse image as we go from one new moon. That crescent begins to grow as we approach first quarter. We grow past first quarter. We hit that waxing gibbous. We hit full moon, and then it starts waning. We get the waning gibbous, the last quarter moon, waning crescent, until we have a new moon again. So this is what all those different steps in the stage development of the lunar cycle looks like. We've spoken a little bit about, sidereal months and sidereal periods when we were talking about planetary orbits around the sun. I believe when we did the one lab with Venus, we focused in on that. A sidereal month is the time it takes for the moon to complete one full revolution around the Earth. So that's about 27 and change days is a sidereal month. A synodic month, a synodic month, my dyslexia kicked in there. A synodic month or lunar month is how long it takes for the moon to go through the different 8 stages of its lunar cycle. So sidereal month is how long it takes to go around Earth once, and a lunar month is how long it takes to go through the whole cycle one time. And you'll notice that the lunar cycle is slightly longer than the sidereal cycle, and that's important. Okay, there's a little web link here, and I encourage you all to click on it on your end, on your copy of the notes. It will take you to a nice little animation that helps to break down the difference a little more between sidereal month and lunar month. Okay, this is just another picture to kind of help illustrate what that animation will show you when you click on that. The cycle is shorter than most calendar months, kind of spoke about that. The phase at the beginning of the month usually repeats at the end of the month. Yeah, because if our phase cycle is shorter than the amount of calendar days, like our lunar cycle is 29 days. Most months have 30 or 31. We're going to kind of get that repeat going on between the two. And that can happen with any of the phases, including like a new moon. There's other different types of interesting moons that can happen. We will get the harvest moon in the fall in our autumnal season. This is the full moon closest to the autumnal equinox. It rises closest to sunset time. We get that really pretty orange color going on from the moon there. So we get harvest moons. You can get a blue moon when you have 2 full moons occurring in 1 month. Occurs about every 2.7 years. So the last one we had was October 31st, 2020. The next one would be probably sometime next year from when this video was recorded. So sometime in mid 2023 is when we'll get the next blue moon, 2 full moons occurring in the same month. So that's the lunar cycle. And we're going to keep this video short here. So in the next video, we're going to talk about eclipses. We'll talk a little bit about solar eclipse. We'll talk about lunar eclipse, some slight differences between those two. So please, I encourage you to take a look at those. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Hopefully it was a nice refresher on the different phases of the moon and how it works. Go ahead, and if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask. If not, have a good rest of your day, and I'll check back with you next time.